So I am doing an unannounced live. I don't do many of these. Clearly, you will be blocked if you start with your hate mail.
So don't get blocked, guys. Don't start with the hate mail. And if you don't know who this is the MAGA woman who was claiming she called ICE on the Hyundai plant, which cost billions of dollars and thousands of jobs in Georgia and in the country.
No, I didn't cost Georgia jobs. Okay. I didn't know about the Korean visas, which I've said time and time again. I did not know about that. That is not what I reported. Deal with it. It'll get fixed. And no, it wasn't creating jobs for Georgians. Yeah, they were going to finish it and hire Georgians, whatever. They bring engineers in on an H-1B visa and they offer them a cheaper pay than they can offer our American engineers. And they'll keep their jobs and they'll be told, if you don't settle for this amount of pay or this or that, then you'll go back to your country. There are other things going on with people being brought here on a passport that I don't wish to say right now, but I do hope it comes out. And I'm certain some of the emails I've received from very nice South Koreans, people do not want me putting that on the internet.
All right, so you can try to figure out what she's saying, please do. But, basically, this actually represents the kind of people that vote for Trump. And for a lot of us Americans who aren't MAGA, so this is clearly MAGA, but for us Americans who aren't MAGA, it's like being related to that crazy uncle or crazy aunt who says all this, really crazy stuff at the dinner table during a holiday meal. And, you're just like, should I start a fight? Should I keep my mouth shut? And anyone who's had this experience, if you're related to someone kind of crazy, you'll know exactly what I'm saying. And the question is now that we're facing is, should we get a divorce from these people? Should we have, some sort of civil war? And I'm making a joke on the civil war thing, but that's kind of been the divide where, I've heard people saying, hey, I live on the West Coast, guy. Can we just, join Canada or something like that? This is Marjorie Taylor Greene, or MTG, and she's talking about getting a divorce. For real. There is nothing left to talk about with the left, okay? They hate us. They assassinate our nice guy who actually talked to them, peacefully debating ideas. The millions on the left celebrated and made clear they want all of us dead. Okay. To be honest, I want a peaceful national divorce. Our country is too far gone and too far divided, and it's no longer safe for any of us. And that's why I'm honestly like showing you a MAGA person here and trying to have like a real discussion of this stuff. I get her sentiment. A lot of people are feeling that way. You know what? Let's just divorce. People on the West Coast, again, let's join Canada. But this idea that people on the left say want you all dead, I wouldn't go that far. Honestly, in my opinion, I actually do want you to have jobs. You, your family, people in the state. I want us to have an honest discussion on this stuff. I don't want people scamming Americans, say like the Trump thing. Like literally, I'll show you guys, hey guys, these are the numbers that Trump is saying. It doesn't really make sense. I mean, I don't think I'm saying anything outrageous. And also, I think 99.9% of us all want the same things. You want putting food on the table, make sure your kids have a good place to go to school and these kind of stuff. So it is hard though when there are people out there like Marjorie Taylor Greene or this person called on Hyundai who are just bat crap crazy. And so I'm being honest with you. I'm showing you who they are and trying to have a real discussion with this stuff. And they're all trying to claim these days that like Charlie Kirk was some nice guy, but it's not really true, to be honest. Then you got Elon Musk is tweeting out JD Vance stuff. They're talking about murder, this, and JD Vance was talking about you should report your neighbors. No, seriously, it's the kind of stuff they're talking about. If you want to watch it, I think they did a 2-hour podcasty thing. It's really long. That's after a 3-hour Charlie Kirk vigil thing. If you want to watch all that stuff, you can.
So that wasn't very well thought through. They can put them on top of Walmart if they want to. Put them in the parking lot for all I care. But stay away from our farmland. Again, that's how I feel about it. You don't know anything, obviously, since you can't eat. I don't give a how Hyundai, whatever. I don't care how it's pronounced. That's not my priority. I don't drive a Hyundai, and I don't intend to. But I know one thing, our country needs to be respected. And I say that as genuinely as possible. When I have sat and talked to people that are being pushed out of jobs by foreign labor, that are having their farms, that they're having to sell their farms. And that's people right here in our backyard. And that's what I care about.
Okay, so she claims she cares about, people losing their farms, like literally says what she's talking about. And then she claims about, jobs and stuff like that. But then she's talking about, I never drive a Hyundai. But then again, Hyundai was coming to their town to basically revitalize the city and provide thousands of jobs and doesn't care about even pronouncing it correctly.
Okay, so I don't need anybody in another country talking about how I did something to build up my campaign. I'm an American, and you can want in one hand and crap in the other and see which one weighs more, but you don't get to talk about what I did or didn't do to build up my campaign. Okay?
So people were basically saying online that this person's just an attention grabber. They're just trying to, raise some sort of crazy issue. And maybe it appeals to voters there to chase away jobs. I mean, that's why this whole thing is absurd, because remember Trump was saying, hey guys, I'm going to bring back all your factory jobs. And she's just like, no, I'm going to report the factories. I don't even know. It's laughable. It's sad. It's frustrating. And, maybe I should join Marjorie Taylor Greene and figure out how, America can file the papers for divorce. I mean, because can we work this out? And I think that's where we have to go forward. Now, this is coming from the Daily Beast. They were talking about the Charlie Kirk's 3-hour, Kirk-avanza, if you want to call this thing. Charlie Kirk's widow plea and MAGA fundraising cash drive. So I don't know. It just the whole thing seems strange to me. And just in my opinion, and I won't spend too much on this, but just I think your kids probably need you right now, and I'll just leave it at that. And I just find the whole thing weird, but it fits in with the MAGA culture of these kind of people.
And we have to be independent. We have to. I'm all about the CHIPS Act that was passed. Thank goodness. We have to get those chips manufacturing plants opened. Because right now, Taiwan has a majority of the world's microchips. And I don't know if you know what that is, but every time you back up in your car, the sensors, there's millions of them. Those are microchips.
All right. So she says you got millions of microchips in your car, and these are the kind of people that are running for Congress. It is frustrating because I do agree with some stuff that she says, right? So I do understand her points of view. That I'm not against jobs in America. And in fact, it was interesting. I don't know if she understands it when she's praising the CHIPS Act. That's under Biden to talk about chips manufactured in the USA. Does she know that? I don't know.
And everything is just dilapidated. And if we continue to let people attack our farmland with solar panels and dry up their wells with their manufacturing plants that they're putting in, then you're going to be driving down the road in 10 years. And not only are you going to see manufacturing plants that are dilapidated, but our farmland's going to be dried up. And we're going to be relying on China and Bill Gates for our food. So that's my number 2 issue.
I don't follow these circles that much. I never understood these conspiracy theories about the Bill Gates and George Soros, but that, I'll let you guys be the judge of that. But they're always blaming Bill Gates for everything. It's these people are strange. They're always upset about other countries stealing their jobs, stealing their ideas, etc. Then she's talking about she wants jobs to come back. Then she's complaining about the factories who are taking the water from the farms. But a lot of these people, they don't really make much sense. And I literally just try to tell you the truth, guys, about this stuff is, so one, why are farmers struggling right now? One reason it was soybeans. Trump's making an issue with China. So China's not buying any soy from USA. That's actually worth quite a bit of money. Or because what happens is to their voters, they tell everyone, oh, we're going to sell your stuff all around the world. And then she'll complain about China nonstop. But yet, do you know today, even though you're complaining about China nonstop, that your Trumpers are meeting with China today and they're making some sort of deal on TikTok? And I think what's probably going to happen, I mentioned this before, that Trump's mostly concerned about having a popular TikTok account. You never know with these people if they're making some sort of deal to where they can make it so all the MAGA, influencer people and all their MAGA politicians and such will get more heavily favored in the algorithm.
And I'm tired of elitists and politicians running our government. We need teachers and farmers and our neighbors to be making decisions in Washington, D.C. Real people with boots on the ground. That's how it should be. If it was up to me, they'd run it like jury duty because it keeps the integrity of the system. We need term limits. God bless, there are some politicians I absolutely love, and I don't care how long they serve. One is Senator Kennedy in Louisiana. I hope he stays forever until he's 100. I love him. But you have some that are so corrupt, from the Pelosi's to the Chuck Schumers to the Maxine Waters. They're a Trojan horse.
So this really is the base of Trump. She's like the base MAGA Trump. So basically the way they think is like, okay, so I kind of want rules on term limits, but if it's like a Republican, well, no term limits with them. I like them. They can stay to 100. But if it's like other ones and like, oh, you know, the Pelosi's, oh, I just really don't like them. It's really hard to talk to any of these people. Let me address this one. So actually, she brings up an interesting point to discuss. She's like, okay, I don't want politicians, right? But oh, wait, I like the one in Louisiana. Forget that. But I want more teachers and farmers and such to do this. When run like jury duty was, you know, endless cycling of people going through. So here's the problem with that is I'm not against regular people running for office. And in fact, something I've talked about several times on the channel, I would have liked to run someday. But, you know, when people ask me what about my situation, I'll just be frank with you. If you're Asian American like myself, I've been even more frank, if you're not white, it's very, very difficult, depending on which district you're in. I'm being perfectly frank with you guys. And this is just how it is. And if you want to talk about the Democratic Party, they're interested in only certain kind of candidates, and I'll leave it at that. But that could go for both parties. So to be fair, like the way the parties work, if you're, you know, appealing to whatever the donor class is, my opinion is stuff, I wish we could get money out of politics. I think that's our biggest issue. And then you could get just more average, or not average, right word. We'll just say people who aren't born wealthy in, or people who aren't necessarily wanting to take money from people who will dictate policy, right? Just independent people, that's a better way to put it.
I don't care about anything else. We are powerful. We are the best country in the world, and we better start acting like it, and people need to respect that. That's all I'm going to say about this. I'm not on here to argue with bots, people paid by George Soros and all the likes of that. Your ignorance is gleaming. You will literally create emails to jump in my email to ask me why I turned off comments.
It's deeply, deeply frustrating. And it always reminds me of like when we do these things that the average person is more closer to MAGA in the USA. And we have to figure out like, how can we get these people to be on board to help all of us? And I'm being sincere, because I think education, healthcare, transportation, jobs for people, this is stuff that people want to need, and you need to support that. Unfortunately, they are so, what's the right word, I guess, fooled, tricked, however you want to say it, by people like Elon Musk or Donald Trump, who are basically billionaires who don't care about you at all. And I have to repeat this message over and over again. You know, and I know sometimes it sounds like maybe I'm preaching to the choir, but there's some people out there, and I see it, like young people who generally don't know. They don't know. There's so much information what to believe. And I'll just say this: the internet's a very big place. You can easily look up anything. It's so easy in these day and age, and you got to take time to verify stuff, and then you'll start to figure out, okay, who has credibility and who doesn't. And that's something that I just giving advice to young people. Do the right thing. You'll have a clean conscience. You'll live a much better life, opposed to, say, someone like this person who's like, oh, I gotta turn off comments, or all the hate mail, right? That's the life you get if you're constantly spreading lies and misinformation and just conspiracy stuff and doing the MAGA way. It's not a healthy or sustainable. So that's my thoughts on these things. I want to hear yours, and I'll catch you on the next video.